Hey there, guys. Welcome to episode 12 of the Invisible Wealth Podcast, where we take the information that the suits and ties don't wanting us normal people to have and dispersing it to the world. So I'm Mason Van Meter, and my guest today is a good friend of mine, Nico Moreno. He's an entrepreneur who started his digital marketing career over 8 years ago when there were tons of ups and downs, but ultimately, after finding his niche, it generated multiple seven figures online. He became a millionaire before he turned 30. He was even one of my coaches. After that, he had so much on his plate, he got burnt out of working 12-hour days, 6 or 7 days a week, and began working his journey to find ways that would make money work hard for him instead of him working hard for money. And it took him over 6 years and over six figures of testing, trying, and failing until he finally found something that worked. And now he generates multiple six figures per year income stream purely with one type of investment. And he's been helping newbies get set up, which I'll probably do it after this, which is why I really wanted to talk to you, with the same type of income stream for themselves for the past year. And that's what we're going to be sharing with you today. So without said, Nico Marino, welcome to the show, my friend.
Thanks so much, Mason. I am excited to be here, and it's my pleasure. Can't wait to dive in.
Yeah, so Nico, when we were talking before the show, you were showing me some of the stuff behind like generating income through investing with one of these gold trading bots, and it really piqued my interest. And I was like, do you have an hour that I could buy from you or something so we can share this with people?
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
you're not taking on any like large amounts of risk. We're not using like heavy capital investment. There's no manual trading or tech skills, which is what really piqued my interest because I suck at that stuff
Mhm.
whatsoever. And not only that, but you're helping complete newbies like me get up and running with the same type of investment in less than 7 days and seeing real returns. What's the catch? Is this for real?
Yeah, that's right, Mason. You hit the nail on the head.
Dude, that is incredible. So I definitely want to explore that together here in a little bit. But before we do, let's talk about how you got here. Can you tell me a little bit about how all of this began and how you kind of found these gold trading bots?
Absolutely. So, like you had already mentioned, I worked really, really hard in my career, and I imagine that people listening to this podcast can definitely relate. But, kind of busted my butt for years and years to try to make, my first online business a success. And I finally did, get some success, but it was actually after so much just trial and error and a lot of months where I was like, I don't even know if I should be doing this. Like, I should probably just throw in the towel and quit and like go back to working a day job, even though I never wanted to do that. But yeah, I eventually did build two seven-figure businesses online in my late 20s and early 30s. And it was fantastic, of course, and I learned so much about myself. And I also built an incredible network of friends and clients and people, and you're one of those incredible people. Um, but anyone who has run a business before knows that it takes a major toll on your energy levels and just on your happiness, both inside, both like while you're working and just on your life as a whole. So, a lot of us started business for freedom and then quickly found out that it takes two, three, or even four more times as much work than a day job. So, all that being said, I reached a point in my career where I had just been working so hard for so long that I was completely burnout and exhausted. And, I had dabbled in very traditional investments that I think almost everyone has, such as, typical things like stocks, REITs, and just other things like that. But it started to hit me that my money was not working for me anywhere near as hard as it could be. So, I knew how to work hard for money, but what I wanted to do was to start to put my money to work for me. And I mean, really work. And seeing measly like 3% to 8% per year returns with my other investments was just so disheartening, especially knowing that taxes, inflation, and fees pretty much ate up all of that growth. So I was essentially just breaking even every year. Uh, then that's when I decided and realized that I needed to find something else, like something better that could actually accelerate my path to building real wealth, give me much better returns than a measly 1 or 2 or 3%. And that, after fees and everything, without taking on too much extra risk and without doing anything that, was going to take up a bunch of my time. Because that was what I was trying to escape. So yeah, there was a point when I reached out to one of my mentors, and he actually suggested that I look into trading bots. And yeah, so at that point, I was skeptical, because, I think anyone who hears of an automated bot, like kind of doing something with your money, right? Like it sounds potentially cool, but it's also kind of makes you wonder, like, okay, I need to look into this more and figure out what's really going on, right? So what he told me, what my mentor told me at that time was, it was basically an algorithm that was placing trades on autopilot. And I actually knew, I had done research and kind of heard of this concept before, and I actually knew that big hedge funds, like multi-billion dollar hedge funds, actually use trading algorithms to place a pretty significant amount of their trades for their investors so that they can beat the stock market for their investors. So, I knew that there was definitely some merit behind it already, just because that's what most really big hedge funds already do. But I still was skeptical if this was something that could actually be available to like the everyday person like me, right? Like, I'm not billion-dollar net worth and not able to get into some of these big hedge funds, right? So that was when I began my own journey of like personal research, looking into different types of trading bots, learning how they worked, and what would make a good trading bot versus a potentially dangerous or unsafe trading bot. So basically, what I was wondering for myself is like, how do I know if this thing is going to perform like it's supposed to? So, that's kind of what I eventually realized at that point was just like any asset class out there,
Yeah.
and this spans like with all of investing, there's no guarantee that the next month is going to be exactly like the last month, right? It's
Yeah.
just everything fluctuates. And there's also no guarantee that next year is going to be like last year. In fact, I mean, again, you look at your real estate portfolio, you look at your stocks, the next year is never exactly the same as the last year. So that's just investing in general. So really all you can do is, make informed decisions based on past historical data while also accepting that, again, there's no 100% guarantees with anything. So, what you can do with these bots and kind of what I learned about is that you can look at the performance of the bots. You can see a couple of key metrics such as like historical drawdown, win rate, and for those that don't know, drawdown is kind of like unrealized loss. So basically, like, if you open a trade and it doesn't go right in profit right away, like maybe it goes kind of in the red for a bit and then it comes back up. So that's what drawdown is. You can see like, all that information and how deep the drawdown ever gets. Average profit per trade, things like that. So it's a lot of just like a lot of basic stats that you can just kind of look at really quickly to basically determine, is this a safe strategy or is this something that is not a safe strategy? Because again, there's different types of trading bots, and you can find ones that are fantastic and do a great job, and you can also find ones that just are not really a good strategy. So what I realized was, as long as I'm okay with getting into this more aggressive type of investment class with more growth potential, paired with, of course, more risk than something like the stock market, then as long as I just arm myself with the knowledge and the data to make an informed decision, then yeah, I would be all for doing this because it could help me, get to my goals of significantly increasing the returns on my money that I was just really not happy with, right? So with that mindset in mind of like, knowing, hey, this is going to be, an aggressive investment. There's much more growth potential, but, with that, there's a little bit more risk too that I have to be aware of. I had that mindset in place. And so because of that, I still decided to go ahead and get started.
What does Warren Buffett say about investments? Like it's only risky if you don't know enough. I like a lot of that.
Yeah, like it's
Yeah.
something like, yeah, it's something like every asset or every investment is risky when you don't know what you're doing, but
Yeah,
every
okay, that's a fantastic quote, and it reminds me a lot of Tony Robbins stuff. It's like once you understand the patterns, if you understand the patterns, you can get whatever you want. But the cool thing about the bots is you don't have to know anything about the patterns if the bot does. And now it's just you wake up to tens, hundreds, or thousands of dollars, whichever ones, and everyone's experienced tens of dollars. So it so that all sounds
totally.
great, man. What happened next? Like what kind of
Yeah, so
resistance or what kind of got in the way when you started out to do this? Did anything kind of like throw you off course or?
oh yeah, absolutely. So, at this point I had kind of made the decision, I'd done the research, made the decision like, okay, this is something that I do want to dip my toe into and get started with. But what I did want to do is, I also wanted to get some outside opinions. So of course, I got the opinion of my CPA and accountant, who I've been working with her for like 8 or 9 years while I built, my wealth from scratch with my other businesses. And whenever I'm, going to make a decision like that, I do run everything by her just so she can act as a sounding board, even though I don't necessarily, uh, you know, take her advice as, as law because it's just one person's opinion. But she was a little bit skeptical of it, and so she did make me think twice about it. Um, and just really make sure that it was something that I was willing to do. And I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Like that's what a CPA is for. Um, and again, she basically told me all the same stuff that everybody has probably heard before from a financial professional, which is that, you know, just stick to real estate and just stick to stocks and like potentially bonds. And again, I appreciate that input, but that's literally the exact thing that I was trying to escape was stocks, bonds, and real estate because I mean, it's just the slowest possible path to wealth. So, I have my other investments, I have my stocks and my real estate. I don't do bonds, but I have the slow stuff and the super secure, boring stuff like already handled. So I was like, okay, I've got that going, and I still want to go ahead and do something that, yeah, again, there's a bigger like risk, but there's a much bigger reward, and I would really rather just, accept that risk, and hopefully get the big reward. So I was okay with still doing that because I know it was going to accelerate my path to real significant wealth much faster.
That sounds like
So
really, that sounds like a intense time in your life. I know how overwhelming this stuff can get. So like coming through all of that, dealing with the CPAs, which is funny you bring that up. I just had to fire mine. I figured out, dude, I got a call from someone yesterday. It's like, hey, you're like delinquent on your 2023 taxes. It's like, what do you mean? They were like, well, you have like you owe 80,000 in back tax. Like 80,000. It's like, where did this come from? And turns out the girl never filed it. She goes, well, your car payment didn't go through. And I was like, you didn't think to run it again. And so
wow,
so
that's
I'll,
bad.
I'll get that dealt with, but it's just the fact that, man, like
Yeah,
not the most qualified advice giver sometimes. So I
that's
understand.
true. Yeah.
So was this time of your life just pretty much you alone, or were there people who were helping you go through it? You mentioned a mentor who was showing you some of these bots.
Yeah, so I mean, I did have a mentor who he was really more like just um, sort of investment and wealth building mentor, like in general. And so he didn't necessarily give me super specific advice, or he didn't even like necessarily say, hey, you should definitely do this. What he did say was just like, yeah, I think you should look into this because I think it's probably the solution that you're telling me that you want, but I'm not going to make the decision for you. So, it was the way that he handled it and suggested it was very non pushy, but he was like, yeah, based on everything you're saying, like I think this is something that I do, and I think you should look into it. So, yeah, that's what I did, and again with the CPA, like she didn't have the final say, and I've still done stuff that she didn't uh, necessarily didn't sign off on. Like, crypto is another thing that, I've not, how do I say this? I'm not super heavy into crypto, but like, I've still made a good chunk of money from crypto.
Yeah.
And again, that was against her best wishes too. So, I think just CPAs and financial professionals, they're really trained to, you know, keep you doing kind of the traditional stuff, which is fine. But yeah, I was really lucky to have that outside input from someone who was experienced with trading bots so that I could actually know that, hey, they actually are legitimate as long as you find a good one, and that they can um, really accelerate your path to wealth, like in a tangible and really immediate way. Like you start seeing results essentially the first week. Now, are you going to become a millionaire the first week? Definitely not. No, but you will see tangible results and like growth in your account, like, within the first 7 days.
What's funny about all these bots, just I remember you building me a bot for one of my set, like one of my products, and it like
Hmm.
just how your bot is making trades for you and getting you money. That's kind of the bot that you built for me. It's like, and people still when they'll click on a link on my profile and it'll send them through these indoctrination links and stuff, and they'll give me their email and their phone number, and then 7 days later, it's like $47 payment, $197 payment just coming through from chatbots and stuff. So Nico knows
Yeah.
his bots. Uh,
Yeah.
and
Love
yeah,
bots,
when
love
the CPA
automation.
stuff, if you want what everyone else has, you can do what everyone else does. But I don't think you or I or most people want what other people have. So like after, it sounds like after that initial breakthrough and kind of that mindset shift, like that big epiphany,
Mhm.
that's when major progress started setting in. Like was it mostly smooth sailing from then on? Or
Not at all, honestly. So,
okay.
yeah.
Share this,
Once
spill
I,
the tea, spill the
uh,
tea.
yeah, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. So once I got into, these trading bots and I realized the potential of them, I did do some experimentation, meaning I actually, I tested tons and tons of different trading bots that were available. A lot of times I did this without even knowing like what the strategy was. In fact, I didn't even know that there was a way to research what the strategy was or to like find out anything about the bot. Like I just, sometimes you don't know what you don't know. So like I didn't know what the strategy was. I didn't know, was there any risk management in place? I had no idea. But I saw the returns, and that's what you typically can see very easily. Um, and so because of that, I just wanted to experiment with them. So, you can probably see where this is going, but I started playing around with a bot that was getting really, really good returns, like, you know, over 30% a month, sometimes even 100% a month or more. It was honestly crazy. But it also didn't use any stop losses. So, for those of you who don't know what a stop loss is, it's just like it sounds. It's basically if an open trade is not going in your favor, like it's going against you in the red, then it basically just stops out, it closes out your trade at a certain point and it stops you from losing too much money. So it'll just close it at a smaller loss. But some bots, they just don't use them at all. And mostly that's a way to make it seem like their gains are really, really large and that they have a 100% win rate. Because if you don't close the trade in a loss, then technically the trade, hasn't lost, right? So but the reality is they can just cause your whole account to go to zero because there's just no way to prevent losses. So, what happened next was a huge bummer. I ended up losing around $4,000 from this bot that had no stop losses whatsoever. And, obviously I was completely disheartened. I was just, obviously it's not gonna like completely destroy my life to lose that amount, but I was also just really upset and bummed because, I had been so excited about the potential of this,
Yeah.
and I thought that this kind of might be the end of it all. Like I was like, how was I going to make this work if I knew that at any moment the whole account could just drop down to $0? So after months of researching, I actually did find a way to ensure that the bot that I was using had stop losses built into every single trade to protect my account and protect my capital. And really what it came down to, I actually, at first I was very bitter and upset about this, but really I ended up realizing that it was 100% my responsibility and it was just a lack of doing proper due diligence on my part. Like I didn't know what I didn't know again. And so nobody told me about what to look for in a bot. And one of those big things, is ensuring that there's a safe strategy in place that uses stop losses on every trade. Like it's actually kind of basic once you think about it, but if you don't know to look into it, then you don't know. So yeah, once I figured that out and I was armed with that knowledge, and after that expensive lesson, I made a commitment to myself to follow on like a rigorous research process to just ensure that I'm only ever using bots that have safe stop losses built into every trade, meaning that my downside risk is always protected and minimized, while my upside is still completely uncapped. And the shocking reality is that there's very few, in fact, almost no bots actually do that. Like almost
I
all of
haven't.
them.
Before I got you on here, I actually started looking at other things that people are offering because I'm always down looking for affiliates or bots for myself.
Mhm.
Um, and I noticed most of them were just around shady groups or nothing prevented losses or anything like that, which was what really attracted me to yours. Was like, okay, let me see if Nico will come hang out with me for a minute. So it sounds like you found a way to minimize losses while maximizing the returns, which is unheard of in what we're looking to. That's really the most attractive part to any investor is how do I minimize risk and maximize reward? If that's really what people like Ray Dalio, Carl Icahn, some of the greatest investors of all time really look at. So, dude, I mean, what a journey, man! You got all excited like a child on Christmas, and you didn't get your Christmas present that you asked Santa for. You lost the brand. You're like, dang it, man! And now you've made
Yeah,
it. And that sounds like that was the real turning point for you, was just figuring out the nuances, paying that ignorance tax down of not knowing what you now know. So how does that get us to today, right here where you are now?
exactly. Yeah. I really just look at it like an ignorance tax, honestly. But essentially, what it taught me was, everything that we've baked into our signature gold trading bot today, which is basically the safe stop loss strategy that is on every single trade. Again, as a result of that learning experience that I went through, and also just seeing, like you said, Mason, that, really there's nothing out there, or there's very few bots out there that are actually um, very clear with their strategy and very clear with like the safety strategies that they're using.
Not
Most of
even
them are
that.
just,
I have to interject right here because when I see that other people had access to my accounts under their platform, that just rubbed me the wrong way. After I had an experience with a Go High Level, I was on someone's sub accounts and
mm,
they were able to go in there and take all of my leads that I had generated for my business and start marketing to them. And so I was like, when I see that
oh
other people
wow,
have
that's bad.
access to my accounts, any of that stuff, I'm like, which is what I liked about yours. It's just it's built for them. They own it, and I don't have to worry about. Not saying you would ever do that, of course. And I know you a little too well for that. But that just rubbed me the wrong way when I saw that from other people. It's like, what is this, Crypto Zoo and Logan Paul? It's like, I don't trust it. So,
Yeah, and actually, I'm really glad that you bring that up. I think a lot of people get tricked or scammed into stuff that people that aren't even actual legitimate trading bots. So, for anyone listening, like you should never send your trading capital actually to another person or to a sketchy account.
oh
Like with
no.
Yeah, with a legitimate trading bot, such as my trading bot, the way that it works is you actually open up your own brokerage account with a legitimate broker, like, and you put your funds like in that. So you can think of it as like Fidelity or like E-Trade or Charles Schwab, like those are brokerages, except there's ones that also allow you to use like Forex and commodities and stuff like that. So you're actually just you're opening an account with them and you're putting your funds in there. You're not sending it to another like human being, which again, I see these scams like rampant all over the place where they just have you send your trading capital to them basically, and then they just keep it and they just block you or whatever, and they just take your money. So that's like literally not even a bot; it's just a scam. So you need to definitely be aware of that. But um,
Yeah,
yeah,
so
so I mean,
back to let's come back to now. I didn't mean to
yeah,
interject in that. I thought that was important because it stood out to me at that time.
for sure. Yeah, so yeah, I mean, essentially, kind of where that brings us to is like once I started having real success with these trading bots, naturally, I just wanted to start telling other people about them because, I've built up somewhat of a following online. I know people like, I know you, I built up a network online. So, I just wanted to start telling people about this potentially life-changing opportunity, what I saw to be a life-changing opportunity. So, I started talking about it more and more openly with friends and family, and a lot of them got curious. And once I showed them like the stats and told them a little bit about how it worked, a couple of them wanted to get on board pretty much right away. So, pretty quickly I started sharing it a little bit more on social media. And within about 14 days of just posting it on my Facebook, and I think I made a couple YouTube videos, I had about 20 people sign up like pretty much right away within that first 2 or 3 or 4 weeks after that. So, obviously I knew it was exciting because, it has the potential to compound your money on autopilot, but I had no idea that so many people would be interested in doing it so fast. So it really took off naturally from there and, started building a few more processes and like film some setup guides and some videos for the users and common questions about the bot and everything like that. And then I actually started putting more effort into, getting the word out about this. Because again, at that time, it was kind of just a test. I was like just tell a few people about it, see what happens. But yeah, now, one of the reasons why I'm on this podcast is wanting to share this with more people so that they can have the benefits for them and their families too. And yeah, it's been really crazy to see. I've had clients make really incredible returns just in their first few days that are on par with, the amount of returns that you might make in a whole year off the stock market. Like literally, I had a guy who signed up last week on his very first day. Again, this isn't going to happen every single day, but on the very first day, the gold bot made 2 trades and he was up $700 in one day. So I've had clients generate, $9,000 off of $30,000 of capital in just 1 month. That's on aggressive settings. So we actually provide, as a user, you have options to use like 3 different sort of aggressive levels of, we'll just call them like
difficulties for the video game. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So one of them is like, the basic standard one. One of them is, a little bit more aggressive. One of them is very aggressive. And then I made another fourth one, which is like even lower and like less intense than the baseline one, just in case someone is like, really wants it to be like low risk, low gains as well. It's smaller gains, but I've had a handful of clients showing me that their bot is making them like $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, even $4,000 in a week. That's not every single week, but on average, if you're hitting those numbers, even somewhat consistently, it makes a very, very big difference in your quality of life in just a short amount of time.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so because of that, I really wanted to get more people just exposed to this idea because I've seen firsthand, what a change it made in my life. And not only that, but after working with getting close to 100 clients in the past year and seeing what a huge impact it had on all of their lives, that's why I wanted to get on the podcast today and just with all of you and ensure that, just show you like what a game-changing concept this really is, and show you that it really is possible to actually get set up and running with this exact same bot, taking the exact same trades that we're all getting, copying those into your account within the next 7 days, really. And like I said, the bot actually does take the same trades for everyone. So, when we have a big day, everyone has a big day together. And yes, there also is the occasional losing trade. I have, statistics and everything that I could show or I could post somewhere around this video. Right now, the bot has a 96% win rate, which means 96% out of 100 trades on average, like 96 of them win, 4 of them lose. But again, there's nothing out there that's going to have a 100% win rate. It's literally impossible. And, we know that whenever there's a loss, it's extremely likely that the next one's going to be a winner, either that same day or later on in the week to just make up for all of that and more.
So all I'm hearing is you've somehow managed to figure out a bot that wins more than it loses. And I think that's the goal of investing, to win more than you lose. So
Totally.
round of applause to you, man. That's absolutely incredible and fantastic. If you had to go through that, like that journey to get where you are today, is that something is that something I have to go through to get the same kind of results as you, or?
Not at all. So the really cool thing, and I think what probably the best thing about this whole opportunity is that I've actually created a way for you to really just clone and copy over the exact same trades that have been yielding me between 15% and 45% monthly, completely on autopilot. And I've had months that are even higher than that. But generally, within 1 month, it's usually between 15 and 40%, 45%. So you can actually clone this over completely on autopilot. Anybody who wants to use it can do this. There's no trading experience needed. Again, the bot, it manages all the trades. It decides when to enter a trade. It opens it and it closes it purely automatically. All you need to do is commit about 5 minutes per week. I know that sounds, like why even mention that?
That's hard work right there, Nico. I don't know.
It's kind of comical. I know.
That's
so yeah,
that's
if you're willing
laughably
to,
offensive.
I know, right? So, but it really does take just 5 minutes a week to kind of load the new updates. I show everyone exactly what that means once they're inside, but That's really it. You don't have to manage any of the trades or anything like that. You basically just open up your computer each day or each week and see the trades and see the profits in your account.
Got
So
it.
yeah, I mean,
So I guess that brings us back full circle to what I kind of touched on at the beginning of the episode. I mean, you've managed to make a gold trading bot that for every 100 moves, it wins 96% of the time. That's absolutely unparalleled. I personally have not heard of that, and I know people with money just like you do, and this is something we'd all foam out of the mouth for. Uh, if I'm being real, so and that's us humans, man. When we spot an advantage for us, we're gonna take it. So I'm 100% gonna do it. Like,
totally.
I want to. How do you actually do this? How are you getting these types of results? So because those numbers, I'll put money in insurance, real estate, all these different things. And I mean, that's the whole point of money, right? To trade it for things that you want. So in this, I'm just trading it for more money. How are you doing this? How are you getting those percentages? Because I don't get those in my insurance, my REITs, my stocks, my M1 fund. Like, I don't get that. How on earth did you manage to pull this off?
Yeah, so I mean, I'll try to sum it up, as concisely and tangibly as I can. But basically, how this bot works is, if any of you are familiar with trading, essentially you can kind of open up a trade, and if the trade starts going into profit, then essentially that's the second that you close that trade, that profit becomes realized profit in your account. And so what this bot is built off of, it is actually like years and years of data about specifically the price movement of gold, and not just all the price movement of gold, but there's actually a one specific hour per day. I call it the golden hour. It's actually the final hour before the gold market closes. So this is 4 to 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's 2 to 3 p.m. for me. I'm in Mountain Time, so that's how I always think of it. So it's this one specific hour of the day where the price of gold and like the price fluctuations of gold actually slow down a very significant amount. So there's not these crazy swings, just like, with any asset class, if there's a crazy swing that's going up or down, it can be very unpredictable. But with gold, there is one specific hour where, because of the ways that, large institutions like banks, hedge funds, and everything like that, um, they need to like essentially they need to reconcile all their books and all their financials for that day, and so all of their positions are closed out like before that hour commences. And so when there's that final hour of trading, like, it's very, very slow price movement, which is actually a good thing. And it's also very, very predictable, meaning if you just look at historical data within that 1 hour of the day, it's extremely predictable, and we're able to create models around that. And so basically what the bot does is it only trades during that 1 hour per day, and it takes really, really quick scalp trades that typically last anywhere from like 3 minutes to 30 minutes. So they're basically over in the blink of an eye. And again, it just relies on this past historical data that, again, is it right 100% of the time? No, it's 96% of the time. But again, it's just looking at years of years of proven data, and taking trades based purely off of that in a time of day where there's not going to be massive, crazy, unpredictable swings. There's going to be just very slight movements up and down, and the bot capitalizes on that.
Yeah, I mean, because I had called my girlfriend before I got on here. I was like, I'm about to talk to Nico about this trading bot. She's like, well, what do they do? And I was doing my best to explain it to her. She's like, well, even if the money you put in, if you don't lose it, it only makes you enough to pay groceries. Like, that pays for itself after so long. And so the fact that even on a bad month, they could still make all of our, like, let's say I wanted to go buy a boat, I could just put money in my bot, and the gains from that could go make my monthly payment on the boat. I'm not out of pocket
Absolutely.
anything. So that's juicy to me because I like scuba diving. So like, why did you create this, man? Like, what is this
Yeah.
for? Kind of
So
explain it for other people.
yeah, 100%. So like the reason why I did this is really just to help investors, wealth builders, and other people who are just like me and you, Mason, like, who want to make their money work for them. or people who just want to make some extra passive income each month to supplement their active income, whether it's to, make payments on a boat or a hobby, or just peace of mind knowing that there's a little extra money coming in every month. And yeah, the cool part about our automated gold trading bot is instead of leaving your money in the bank, which we all know essentially is just actually losing money over time due to inflation, now
It's
you
at
can
half a
easily,
percent of interest. That money will never double in your lifetime based on the law of the rule of 72. So that money will never double in your lifetime. I can't stand it.
it's actually funny. I've never seen an interest payment ever in my bank account. So
I got 2 cents the other year. It's like, wow, man.
that's pretty bad. So, now using our trading bot, you can actually get 5%, 10%, even 30 or 40% returns literally every single month. And this does depend based on, which of the four settings you choose. I mentioned there's, four different settings. But this all happens without even lifting a finger, which means that your money is actually finally working hard for you. And you can either let it compound. So that means like each and every month you're going to get, let's say you got 30% last month, then, and if you leave that in there to compound, then the next month, let's say you'll get another 30%, but it'll compound off the original capital plus that initial 30%. So over months and months and years, it actually like really snowballs. Um, so yeah, you can either do that, or depending on your personal goals, if you just want to withdraw the funds every month, you can do that. And even better, like this is actually really really cool. I can actually what I do is I show people once they're inside and they're a member of the trading bot, is how they can leverage prop firms. Which this is not a concept that a lot of people know about, but it's essentially using other people's money, so not even using your own capital, to be able to make $10,000 per month or even more uh, profit. I have clients who are making $10,000 or even $20,000 a month with this method, using zero of your own capital and zero downside risk. Now, there's a little bit more steps that you have to take to go and make that happen, as opposed to using your own capital, but it's totally a viable option that I have a lot of people doing as well. So if you're an entrepreneur, investor, wealth builder, or just someone who finally wants to see your money working for you and make 15 to 45% returns per month on average, instead of literally losing value in the bank, then, you know, if it's okay with you, Mason, can I just kind of outline like what awaits anyone inside the automated trading bot system?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'd want to hear this for myself. If I can just put money in a bot and then the gains it makes pays for my ads every month, like you can just take my credit card.
Perfect. Love it. Yeah. And again, I have a ton of like statistics showing you all the important details, that I'm, happy to post beneath this video or somewhere around the video, or like, give you a link or anything like that.
Yeah, so I'll post it below
Um,
the podcast for you. That way I can go look at it myself as well. But yeah,
Perfect. Yeah.
outline. I'd love to hear how it works.
Awesome. Yeah. So for anyone who does decide to join us in the automated trading bot system, there's a couple key things that you are going to get that are going to make your experience an amazing one. So the first thing is you're obviously going to get our 100% automated done for you trading bot. And yes, you will get access to the exact trading bot that I'm currently using right now on my own accounts to make me a six-figure per year income purely from literally just interest off of my money. So like I said, I've actually spent 18 months and literally six figures of my own cash to get this all figured out so that you don't have to. Okay. So you can literally plug into this exact same bot in the next 48 hours, maximum 7 days if you're slow, and you're done. Like that's literally all the work you have to do is just get it set up. Number two, and this is key, you're going to have our built-in risk protector plugin. Now, the reality is with trading, nothing can predict financial markets perfectly. And anyone that's telling you otherwise is flat out lying to you, and you should literally run the other direction and like never talk to them again, because it's impossible to predict with 100% certainty what is going to happen. So as smart investors, we need to decide in advance what our risk tolerance is before running the buy. And so as a member, I will show you the one tool that keeps your money safe, protecting your downside while also maximizing and essentially uncapping your upside. And not using this one plugin is how people get into trouble and lose money. Like myself, like I told you, I lost $4,000 because I didn't have this plugged in, and I was using bots that didn't have this feature, right? So this tool is already automatically installed into our trading bot, meaning that your trades will all be protected with a smart stop loss system. But again, this is one of the key things that most trading bot systems completely leave out, and you don't even know. You're just going in blind. And that can lead to devastating drawdowns or even, losses.
Yeah.
So as a member, you can rest easy knowing that our smart AI stop loss system is protecting every single trade without fail. Number 3 thing that you're going to get if you do decide to join us is prop firm profit hacking. So if you don't have a large amount of capital to trade with, or maybe you do, but you need to warm up to the idea of bots before letting them trade real money, then prop firms could definitely be a solution for you. So I'll show you how to use proprietary firms, which again, not very many people know how to do this, but they will actually let you trade with 100K to 400K and still keep a sizable percentage of the profits that the trading bot earns. So again, there's a couple of steps and a couple of hoops you have to jump through to make this happen, but I have a client that is literally making $27,000 per month with just one 100 grand prop firm account, risking none of his own capital. So, it's not going to happen from day one. Like I said, there's steps you need to take to go through this, but I'll show you what those steps are. And it's well worth it, if that's a path that you want to go instead of using your own capital. And then number 4 is dynamic profit settings. So if you're not sure what settings to change on the bot to achieve your goals, as a member, you will get access to low risk, medium risk, and aggressive risk settings. And again, I actually added a new one recently that's like essentially super low risk, just in case you want that. You'll be shown how to change that between any of these settings with literally just one click. So we did all the hard work for you. We did all the testing and all the analysis so that you don't have to. You simply just choose one of the 4 settings based on your goals, and you can change it at any time in just 10 seconds flat. And just plug and play, and then you just watch the profits roll in every week. And that's it. That's just the critical stuff that you need, nothing more and nothing less. So
And
yeah. Oh,
so
go ahead.
my only question is like how, for myself included, like how do we get started? What's the next step? Because this is essentially a no-brainer. So
Yeah.
what's the next step?
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I'm glad you feel that way. And yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with you. It is essentially a no-brainer if it's something that's hitting the mark for what your goals are. So yeah, essentially what we've got for you is the way that we do this is we actually have a $6,000 ticketing
Can
price
you do
for,
something special for me on here?
yeah, absolutely. So that's kind of our regular
Okay.
price. If people enroll within the next 24 hours, though, and since they're coming from you, Mason, from this podcast, what we can do is if they make the decision to sign up in the next 48 hours with our fast action special, it's $49.95 one time. So we knock over $1,000 off the top. Or if you need a payment plan, we'll also make sure that there's a payment plan as well. That'll be 2,600 times 2. And yeah, so that way, again, of course, this is not something that, um, you know, it's not just a cheap, it's not a cheap thing because it's something that.
No, I mean this cost you 6 figures, and I understand. I run a business where when people say, "Well, Mason, can I have your products for free?" It's like, do you sell your stuff for free? How do you put food on the table for your family? And so that cracks me up. I don't see Coca-Cola giving out free Cokes, and so people still pay them money. So
Exactly.
$1,000 off, that is very generous. So when they do sign up, it's $49.95 once
Yep,
or
absolutely.
2,600 twice.
Mhm.
Now, just because I'm a salesman and I have to try to get my way, is there like anything else you can throw in
100%.
for them? Can you help them with the setup or anything like that if they decide to join?
Yeah, absolutely. So, as a special bonus to anyone listening to this podcast and coming from Mason's incredible audience, what we're going to do is we will do the setup 100% done for you if you choose the fast action bonus and get started in the next 48 hours. Again, if you don't do that, like I've had tons of clients who are able to set the bot up completely on their own with zero background experience, no trading skills, no programming skills, no nothing. It is totally user friendly and beginner friendly to get it set up on your own. Okay, so don't feel like you're at any disadvantage. It's just going to take you about 2 to 3 hours of your own time following along with our setup videos. But if you just want to skip that, you don't even want to do that at all, then you can go ahead, you can get started with our fast action special. And if you do get signed up within the next 48 hours, again, with our special pricing as well, then we are going to get you up and running completely 100% done for you, which means there's no bot set up on your end. And yeah, if that sounds like what you want, then the fast action discount is exactly what you want to get started with.
Yeah, I appreciate you working with me. I had to see if I could work some salesmanship with you, Nico, just because I've given you money in the past. So that's
Absolutely.
incredible, dude. I love the fact that it wins more than it loses, because that's honestly the game I try to play that's the game of life for me. It's like, as long as you win more than you lose, well, then it's pretty hard to lose. It's very easy to win. It makes it no brainer. If you take more forward steps than backwards, you're going to make lots of forward momentum and get where you're looking to go. So, dude, thank you for such a generous offer to the audience. Now, we got to wrap this
Absolutely.
up, but I'm pretty positive a lot of the people listening to this right now are going to want results like this for themselves.
Mhm.
And as you know, here on these types of podcasts, we're all action takers. We're all about taking action. So if someone is watching right now and they're ready to take action, like for me myself, what do I do? What do I do next? Is there a
Exactly. So it's a
website we
great
go to, a
question.
number we call? Like what is it?
Yeah, so we'll go ahead, we'll put the link down below for you guys to get started with the special pricing as well. So we'll make sure that the special pricing that I mentioned is active for you below. So you can just go right beneath this video.
Do you have
There's
the
going to be
link
a link.
handy? Do you have the link handy so I can look at it?
Yeah, I do have the link handy for
Just
you if you
post it
want
in
to.
the recording area, and I'll pull it up and I'll share it. That way they know they're going to the right place.
Yeah, for sure, 100%. So there will be the link down below. And also, Mason, if you think that this is a good idea, um, in case anyone has like questions, I know again, this is kind of like a not a touchy subject, but it's a subject that maybe people want to at least ask, one question of like of me before getting on board. If that's the case for you, I'll also put a link down below to like my Facebook account where you can just shoot me a quick message if you really want to do it, you're really on the fence, but you have like one thing that you want to run by someone and you just really want to check and make sure that this is going to work for you. um, then, again, if that's you, then I'll also put a link where you can just reach out to me, shoot me a message, ask any questions that you have, um, to make sure that this is really, really what you're looking for. Does that sound good too?
Yeah, that's very fair. And
Cool.
you mentioned something about fence sitters, which is pretty funny. Here's what happens to people who sit on a fence. It's uncomfortable and you get hemorrhoids. So Nico's saying he doesn't care which side you get off, just get off the fence. The last thing he wants to do is come back in a year from now and see you still having the problem that could have been solved by this. So let me just show you guys the page. That way you know when you click the link, you're at the right spot. Nico, can you see my screen, buddy?
I can. That is the page.
So you guys will come over here, you'll do this, and all you're gonna do is you're gonna hit get access today, and you're gonna go
And
through, you're gonna fill these out. You're gonna say, my full name is Mason Van Meter, and the email address, Van Meter Agency, blah, blah, blah. And you're gonna type in all this, and you're gonna answer the questions, and then Nico's gonna come in there and build it for you. So it's very simple. That's what the page looks like. So they just need to go to
super
that link that's
straightforward.
posted beneath the video. And if they have any questions, they can message you. Is there any good types of questions or anything that you get asked a lot that you can just address on here?
Yeah, I think well, actually, a lot of it's already been addressed. I would say the most popular questions are, like what brokerage or what trading broker do I need to create an account with? The answer is you can use any broker that trades Forex, but I have one that I recommend and that I use, and I'll show you exactly what it is. It's called Ox Securities if you want to know the name, but I'll just show you how to set it up. Inside the training portal, once you become a client, there's a video that literally gives you the right link to go to, shows you the right type of account to open, and it's all done in like 5 or 10 minutes. So that's one of the biggest questions we get, like what trading broker. Um, Another one is, can I see the stats of the bot and like, historical performance? So you'll be able to see all that down below. I don't have anything to hide with that. And yeah, I think those are about like the main questions that I get. You know, if someone's really seriously interested and they're, you know, they've listened to this or listened to some of the content about it, like, yeah. But again, if you have any other questions that are keeping you on the fence from getting started, like definitely throw them my way and I'll help you. I'll get you sorted.
No, well, this sounds beyond fair. So I think my girlfriend's gonna be. I'll just tell her like Merry Christmas early. Don't ask me for anything else. If you do want to take the bot proceeds and get it yourself, so
Yeah, there you
uh,
go. I mean, that's the best Christmas present I can think of. So
I don't. Here, I bought you a money printer, sweetheart. Go take it. So, guys, Nico's giving this to you. All you have to do is accept it. So there's a button somewhere below this. I'll make sure that I get that, and then all you have to do is click that. You'll go to the page that I showed you. I'll show it to you one more time just in case. So let's go right here. Now you know you're going to the right place. Boom and boom. Yeah, you'll come to this page, you'll see Nico's handsome face, and then effortlessly generate income with no tech skills, no courses, no struggle. Just get this trading bot and it's gonna put money in your pocket and you'll wake up with more than you went to sleep with. It's a pretty fair trade if you ask me. So if you want what Nico's given to you, all you have to do to accept it is go click the big green button, get access right now, click that, fill this out, and it is very simple from there, my dear friend. So
yeah, would love to see as many of you guys inside as we can possibly get because this is going to change the game for you.
all righty, well, that is all we have for today, guys. It has been an absolute honor and a privilege to hang out with you again, Nico. So if you guys have any questions,
You as well, Mason.
go shoot him a message. His Facebook button link is down below. You can message him. He's a real person. He's not AI. And then go click the button if you want to accept Nico's gift to you. Remember, it's just $49.95 one time or $2,600, 2 payments of that, and this is the best investment you could possibly make today. What a fantastic decision. This will be the best decision all year. So that's it, guys. I will see you on the next episode.